Hi everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus from Threshold of Hineni, and I'm spending part of my day creating little baggies that were inspired by Natasa at Treasure Books, and I'll link her below. I'll link her video below where she did this. I'm just making a bunch of them, so I'm making several videos and I'll post them like a couple months apart or something, but just using these in various journals. I can't think of my words today. Right now, the ones that I'm making are probably just going to be put into a little box to use in upcoming journals because I don't really know where I'm going to use them, but I just wanted to use the paper up. So I'm going to make some smaller bags this time. So I want to tear this, and I'm not being super careful to get it exactly even. So I'm going to have a couple of small bags this way, and this one, let's see here. Yeah, I'll probably cut it down a little bit smaller too, actually. And, you know, of course, this scrap I'll put away for frankenpaper to use later. All right, and then I've got, and these are both from Penny Whittemore's Chit Chat Angel kit. Okay, and this one is also from that kit. I'm going to use some of this. See how this didn't print right, so I'm going to pull that off. I'm not going to use that part. And I think I'll make a really small, or maybe a couple really small ones that way. Okay, and then this time I'm going to do it kind of assembly lines. That's what's going to make this different from the other videos. I want to, now these are going to have to be right side up. So let's go ahead and tear this paper. And how wide do we want these to be? Would we want one that's really, really wide? Would that be kind of cool? Yeah, I think we're going to cut this in half, or tear it in half. And I'm not being really exact. This is a great way to use up some of your leftover paper. Natasa mentioned that it works really well with papers that are too thin for using as pages, like wrapping paper or some of the like tissue type papers that you get packaged in stuff. I'm going to go ahead and distress these because I just think that with the colors that I've got here, they're probably going to go into an album that's distressed, so we may as well go ahead and do that. Okay, I don't need to distress the bottom. I should actually fold these before distressing them, and see how it hasn't been cut exactly even. I like that. Okay, so yeah, before I do more distressing, let's go ahead and fold it because there's no point in distressing all the way around because we don't need to cover up what's going to be on the back. So let's go ahead and we're going to fold these into so that this part just barely overlaps, like maybe about ½ an inch or so. Okay, and see how it's all uneven here at the bottom? That's okay. I'm going to distress that and it'll make it look kind of cool. Okay, now what doesn't look cool though is that I didn't fold that straight, so let's straighten that out just a bit, which actually is going to take away from my cool bottom that was sticking out, but it makes some of the top stick out. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do, I think with this one, I want to, what do I want to do here? I think, I don't really want to tear it because I don't want to lose the numbers. I guess I'll just cut off this little bit that's sticking up here so that I'm not dealing with that. If it was torn, then I would love that it's sticking up in the back, but since it's not, and since I don't want to tear it more, so that looks good like that. Do I want to make a little thumb hole? I think so. Let's make a thumb hole in this one. I haven't made a thumb hole in any of the others, but I think this one kind of, it helps, you know, people can see better that it's a, you know, a pocket or bag or something to put stuff into. If you have a thumb hole or if your back has some that, you know, that shows. Okay, so now this shows, which is what I want, right? So I shouldn't have cut that. Oh my goodness. So let's cut this in the back so that at least it's kind of even. Okay. What a mess. That's part of why I do this on YouTube, is that you guys can see the whole process, and it's good for you to see the mistakes as well as the things that turn out just right. Okay, so now we can distress it. So let's go ahead and distress this one, and then we'll fold the others. And I want to make sure I distress that part that's at the thumb hole so it shows up really nicely. Okay, so yeah, like that. That's good. Okay, get the corners and everything really well. The kit that this is from, the Chit Chat Angel, I did a DT project, designer team project series, and I'll try to remember to link that at the bottom too, but it was just a really, really cute journal. I love Penny Whittemore's digital kits. They're really adorable. Okay, so that one's done as far as distressing. Now we're going to wait and distress the others after we fold each of them. All right, so let's go ahead and fold this. I want to make sure I get these ladies, so I'm not going to fold it quite in the middle. It'll be folded behind just a little bit. Well, it's fairly even. That's not bad. Okay. And then I've got some sticking out here, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it to make it straight. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to fold the others while I'm at it. I like that rose. Do I want that on the top? I think so. Or do I want it on the bottom? I think I want it on the bottom. Okay, so let's go ahead and fold this one. So that's folded, and I've got some sticking out here, but it's torn, so that's going to distress really nicely, so I'm going to leave that. There's no way that this lady's going to be on the front. Well, if I just barely fold it over here, and then the back will have to fold over quite a bit on the other side, but that's okay. So it'll be like this. Okay, so that works. Yeah, then we've got that lady on the front. I like that. That's cool. Okay, these two ladies I think can be at the front on this one, so we'll just fold it a little bit more evenly than the other one that we just did. Okay, and then I'm checking the bottom. Yeah, there's a big bunch that's sticking out there and it's squared off. So let's just cut this and save that for the frankenpaper. And then I like this alphabet one. That's very cool. So let's fold this and fold this one here. I hope that you grab some paper and that you're doing this along with me. That's the best way to learn how to do something, and it's a lot of fun that way, because then it's like, you know, we're sitting together, crafting together. That's how I like to think of it. I like to think of my friends crafting with me. So what's going on in your life? That's the thing about doing it this way, is that even though you're crafting with me, I don't really get to hear what's going on in your life. It's just me talking. That's not quite as much fun. I am planning to do some crafting retreats sometime in the future. I'm not sure exactly when, but I hope that some of you will come on some of those, and that way I can hear what's going on in your life. Okay, so we've got those all folded. So those are all ready. So let's go ahead and let's ink all these. We're going to see how quickly we can make a whole stack of these. My video tends to cut off after half an hour, so we'll see how much we can do in half an hour. Okay, and that might stick out a little bit, so let's ink that so it's not, yeah, there we go. Okay, now we're not gluing these shut yet. We're going to wait to glue them. And we're going to finish the top of these, of some of these, a little bit differently, which I'll show you in just a minute. These are so easy, you guys. They're just like little baggies, and you can use them as tuck spots. You can paper clip them in so that they can be taken out or moved around. You can have them just as a bag. You can have them as like a side pocket and the bag. They're just really, really adorable. And this is sticking up just a little bit, so I'm going to make sure that that's also distressed. And see how this one is sticking up a bit? So we're going to make sure that we distress that really nicely too, so that we don't have any white showing in the back there. Sometimes it's hard to get the corners. I don't know why. Sometimes the corners are the main thing that distress, and other times they don't want to distress. There we go. I like the look of some of that unevenness and sticking up from the back. That's cool. I think I might distress the page itself a little bit too on this one. It seems like it needs a little bit more of a grungy look. In fact, let's crumple this one. Okay. And then you can just take your distressing ink and just very lightly go over it so that it highlights the parts that are wrinkled. See how that, isn't that cool looking? And then we can flatten it out after we distress it, but I love that. That was something that Natasa did, and I really liked that. I'll probably use that in other things too. Okay. All right, so then these three, let's set those aside because we're going to do those a little bit different. Oh, this one here is already done. So yeah. So let's, before we distress these, I want to, because these are just a little bit fancier. In fact, I think I won't distress them for now because I don't know where I'm going to use them. And these would go well in something that I don't distress as well as something I distress. So I'm not going to distress them yet. I'm going to put them through my paper punch here and punch the top to give it kind of a fancy top instead of a ragged top. It's just a little different way that you can do it. Okay, and if you do decide to distress this, oops, I'm sorry, I bumped that. I'll distress this one so that you can see. If you do decide to distress it, then distress the top extra. See how I'm doing it flat instead of just from the top? And that will make the design of what you've punched out show even more. Isn't that pretty? Okay. So, and you could just distress the top like that if you wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and distress all the way around this one. But the other two I'm not going to distress. Or I might distress just the top of one and not distress one at all. That way you can see the different ways. Different possibilities. Where's my pink distressing ink? Huh, okay. If I had my pink here, then I could show you actually distressing the top with pink. Okay, so let's go ahead and punch the top of this one. And there we go. Okay. So I'm going to leave that one, and then this one I'll just distress the top. Just so you can see the difference in how those look when you do it in the various ways. All my little scraps from punching. Okay, so let's just distress the top of this. Let me just, oh, here's my pink. I'm going to distress this with pink. So I'm not distressing it really, I'm inking it. Just to make that design really stand out. Isn't that pretty? Okay, and then if I want to, I could also distress it up at the top with brown to give it just a little bit more of a defined look. Let's do that. Okay, so now I'm not distressing flat. I'm going to just distress the very edge like this, just to give it a bit more definition. Isn't that pretty? I love that. Okay, so and then since I went ahead and I used the brown at the top, I'm going to go ahead and distress around the edges. Oh, and this one has a nice raggedy bottom. That'll look great distressed. There we go. These are so easy, you guys. I mean, I'm tempted to just sit here all day and make these because it's kind of a mindless task, and I'm not feeling super creative today. But my intention for today was to do a lot of cleaning and organizing, so maybe I won't sit here all day and do this. Okay, so the next thing is just to decorate them, and we've got about 10 more minutes before my camera decides to shut off, so we may not get all these done, but we'll do what we can. All right, I like that pink fabric there, so let's use a little bit of pink. You can use paper, you can use fabric, you can mix them, mix and match. Let's not cover up the rose completely. You can use lace, and like I said, paper works really well too. I think we need fabric scissors for this. There we go. Okay, so that's nice right there. And maybe some ribbon. I think I want the lace on the top. And I think I'm going to use a little bit of Bill's yarn. There we go. I'm just wadding it up. I'm not doing anything super spectacular with it. I don't want to cover up that lace. Okay, and then I'm going to open this up and zigzag over all of that. You can glue it if you want. Marimi stapled hers, not Marimi, I'm sorry, Natasa stapled hers. And, you know, so there's just a lot of different things you can do. You know, if you staple it, that's going to be covered up with whatever your focus element is going to be. Okay, and then what I did was I pulled this over so that it's sticking off the side like that. Isn't that cool? I think that's really pretty. Love it. Okay, so then the next thing that we want to do, we're going to put something here in the middle, but we're not going to do that yet. In fact, I may not even do that today. I may save it for when I know what I'm going to use this in. Oh, I don't want to use this glue. I find that the glue stick works best for doing the closing in the back here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right along the edge where the other side is going to overlap it. And I put it on the bottom piece, not the top piece, because if you put it on the top piece and you get a little bit too much, it'll glue it shut, glue the envelope, the baggie shut, so you won't be able to use it. So just a little tip there. I said from experience. And that's also why I don't use like a liquid type of glue there. And then I'm going to sew along the bottom here. And what Natasa does is she folds it up and glues it. So you could do that too. But I like being able to see my little distressed edge here. And so I'm going to just sew that closed. I'm pulling up my little snippet so it doesn't get caught in the sewing. So there we go. Okay, and then we can just add like a button or a rosette. This isn't the right color, but you know, that kind of gives you an idea of how it just gives a little bit of pop when you add something there. A button, a rosette, a flower, a picture, small picture, a stamp, whatever. You can just add to that. I'm not going to add this now because I don't know what journal I'm using it in, so I don't know what's going to be best. So let's go ahead and decorate one more, I think. Okay, so let me see. What do I have that's a little bit different? How about some rickrack? That would be cool. Okay, and I think let's distress this rickrack a bit. Oh, you know what? If we're going to distress it, let's use it on one that's distressed. Okay, let's distress the rickrack just a bit to give it a little bit more pop and definition and make it look grungier. Isn't that kind of cool? Okay. And maybe a little bit of this burlap. Not too much, but just a sliver of it. You can use paper. You don't have to use all fabric. And some of the others that I did, I used paper, and Natasa used, not Natasa, why do I keep saying Natasa? I'm sorry. Yes, it is Natasa. I'm sorry. Natasa used paper in hers. I think a little bit of ribbon would be nice. Oh, gosh, let's not munch that. Ugh. Okay, there we go. Some ribbon. I think I want to keep the rickrack on top. It still needs something more. Maybe some yarn. Okay. I have like a wad of this yarn, so I'm just like cutting off wads of it. And I'm just wadding it up. I'm not shaping it really in any way. Okay, so I like that, and so I'm going to scooch it over just a little bit because I want it to stick out on the side and the bottom. And then I'm going to just stitch it right there using my zigzag. And again, you don't have to sew it. You can glue it or staple or whatever you want. I like to sew, so I sew a lot. Okay. All right, so that one is done except for putting something in the middle there. Oh, actually we still need to glue it. So let's glue it. And then we need to sew along the bottom, or again, you can glue that on the bottom. I'm going to pull this up so I don't get that involved in the stitching. And I'm just stitching along the bottom just to close it. Oops, I think I did catch some of the ribbon in the stitching. Oh well. Yeah, I did, but that's fine. Okay, so there we go, and then again we'll add a button or something to that. So that's it for today, you guys, because I'm getting close to half an hour and my video is going to shut off. But isn't that cute? We've got a start on a bunch of these. I'm just going to make a bunch of these and decorate them. I'm not going to record anymore, but I love you all. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.